Welcome, Blackboard attendees. I want to welcome you to our session with ReadSpeaker. My name is Kathy Wood. I am the Education Partner Manager here at ReadSpeaker, and alongside me today is Dr. Trish Trifolo at Wayland Baptist. Trish has been a long-time client of ReadSpeaker, and she is a long-time Blackboard user. So Trish, Dr. Trish, do you mind giving us a little quick introduction of what you do at Wayland Baptist?
Sure. I'm the director of their online program, so I oversee all of the online courses for the entire university. We have 11 different campuses, one residential, and then the other ones are all spread out throughout the world. But I also administer Blackboard and all the software for any of the campuses, for all the faculty providing student support and working with accessibility along the lines.
And I hear you're pretty knowledgeable about accessibility and how that interacts with students and affects students. So do you want to talk a little bit about your background with accessibility?
Sure. I'm a past president of TXDLA, and currently I chair the Professional Development Committee. And we have an accessibility certificate course that runs for 5 weeks and goes through all the legal components, administrative components, policy, and then all the WCAG standards and how to attain each of those standards with different tools, whether you're working with Word or PDFs or Macs or whatever it happens to be, all the different types of software. I've been working with that program for, I guess, 6 or 7 different years now. And I speak at different conferences on accessibility.
So we can say that you're pretty knowledgeable about accessibility. And today our session is really to help people understand, about ReadSpeaker and about our accessibility tools. Not only are we a text-to-speech company, but we offer those accessibility tools. And I think there's a lot of confusion in the market about where we fit in terms of the layers when we think about Ally that people use with Blackboard and where ReadSpeaker fits in with that. And so since you are really knowledgeable about both of them, can you explain to our viewers really, can you help them understand the difference and how they actually work together, not as competitors, but really work together?
Yeah. Ally is a wonderful product for Blackboard, and it gives students alternate views or versions of different documents and things like that. And one of the things that you can do quickly is download an MP3. And so now you have a document text that becomes audible as speech. And that's really good. It's a really good tool. We have both of those. We have Ally and ReadSpeaker. And ReadSpeaker itself involves a lot more enrichment for the student. And can be used in several different places that you're not going to see, particularly in Ally. So for ReadSpeaker, our students can, we find it's really good for students that use English as a second language, or students that have various reading disabilities where they might use filters, color filters, or different things to change that speech. Mm-hmm. And so what ReadSpeaker does is it highlights words as they go. They can actually see the word highlighted as it's pronounced. So that's where our second language components help a whole lot. It also can change the text to a different language. You can hear it in a more native arrangement if you need to. It also will read questions in a test. So I have several different students that will be taking a test, and they'll listen to the test question through ReadSpeaker and then look at, rather maybe not even looking at all the choices, it just gives them that visual and auditory component to help them cement the question, and then they can go ahead and answer it as appropriate. And
that multimodal way of learning and digesting the information.
Exactly, you've got
super
that
important. Yeah.
the bimodal learning. And in the same sense, we can use that for a lot of different students so that they're listening and visualizing at the same time, and they can see where they are in the text. And that's the difference with the MP3. The MP3, you can hear the text, but you don't get that visual component linked with it. And that can be very enriching for several different types of learners, because most of our learners are not readers or auditory learners. They tend to be bimodal or social. And so by combining two modes, it enriches the learning for the students.
And you mentioned testing and assessments, and ReadSpeaker also works very well with several, or we've tested and certified with several different proctoring solutions. So I know that that's a big thing on campus, or when we're doing virtual, or we're doing a hybrid type of model of learning, proctoring services, come into play. And so to know that ReadSpeaker also works well with these third-party vendors is very important too, for people to understand that does work. In terms of, supporting the students, you mentioned how, not, those with disabilities, but when we think about ReadSpeaker, we also think about the universal design of learning and how it actually can work for all learners. And I think, with this virtual hybrid model that a lot of students have moved to, we have a lot of screen fatigue and burnout. And I think that, what would you say that the tools actually also help for those students that might not necessarily have a disability, but may just they're just burnt out by being online for the whole day?
Yeah, we have a lot of students that use the ReadSpeaker function when they're traveling, commuting, so they can go ahead and listen to the document and as they're driving or riding in a carpool. And we also have a lot of students that use it at home, where they have several different people learning at once, and reading the document in maybe a darkened room is kind of difficult. It's hard on the eyes, but their child or teenager needs to be working on a computer, and they don't need the distractions that are in the room. So our students can go ahead and use ReadSpeaker and listen to what they're looking at in their assignment, and not disturb their own student. So I think those help quite a bit.
Do you have any particular advice for those institutions or accessibility directors that may still have yet to really decide on a text-to-speech company or product, what they really should be looking for that kind of cemented your decision, to use ReadSpeaker? What really should stand out to them and what they should be looking for?
You want to look at the tools and the functionality of the tools. It's important for pacing. Can you change the pace of the read? Can you slow down the speech, speed up the speech? Can you match it with highlighting? Can you change the color of the highlighting? Many of the different tools have basic changes in that, but they don't. ReadSpeaker combines all of these different options. And so being able to use a ruler, for example, that helps a lot of different students in reading as they go. And then again, the definitions and the translations of certain terms, and being able to check things, all of that. You have to look at not just the individual tool going from text to speech, but look at the accessory items that will help a variety of learners, not something that everyone will use, but a variety of users have options to choose in ReadSpeaker. And I found that they have at least for my choices, they have the best different options for students to use.
Well, Dr. Trish, I think you've given us a lot of information today, and I think that, I think it's a very important, thing to really think about when we talk about the students that we've talked about. When we think about students that may not have identified as needing accommodations, that this also allows them a path forward to empower themselves to be successful. And I think
absolutely, because most students, the majority of students won't identify.
And, and again, when we think about higher ed, it's really, sometimes it's about the cost, and sometimes it's just about, not wanting to disclose that information. And so when we want when we want to help our students be successful, I think providing tools, not necessarily just for those that fit the label of needing accommodations, but for all, I think that that's really important to think about.
That's the whole idea of universal design, is reaching out and making sure the content is available for all users. And there are students who want to read or listen or do both at the same time, and you need to give them the options of that. And ReadSpeaker allows that to be done just easily. You don't, the student only has to click to make that choice.
Well, again, I really do appreciate you spending this time with me discussing the tools and kind of how it actually works well with Ally and not competing against. We actually go beyond that step that Ally does. And so, to empower your students to be successful and to really do that universal design of learning throughout for all students. So again, Dr. Trish, thank you so much. And again, we look forward to continue our relationship with you in the future.
You're very welcome. Thanks a lot.
We heard from Dr. Trish, and now I've got Paul Stisler here, who is our Director of Business Development at ReadSpeaker. Paul, I want to give you the floor to kind of expand a little bit on our discussion about Ally and ReadSpeaker.
Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate the opportunity to talk more about ReadSpeaker and Ally. First, ReadSpeaker and Ally have partnered over the last few years of ReadSpeaker as being the voice behind the MP3 download alternative format that Blackboard Ally is providing. So ReadSpeaker and Blackboard Ally go back quite a few ways. We continue to support that, and I'm excited about continue providing the best voices, the best learning experience for Blackboard Ally and that alternative format. However, today what we're here to talk about is a little bit more of what ReadSpeaker is than just an MP3 download in Blackboard Ally. The ReadSpeaker integration, mainly in Blackboard Learn and Ultra, provides a universal design for learning feature to support all of the learners. There's nothing to download. There's nothing for an end user to do except press, click, and listen to our content. But besides providing alternative formats, the ReadSpeaker Blackboard integration provides significant more functionality to level the playing field for students and faculty. The first component is ReadSpeaker. The feature that is utilized most is the reading and highlighting. This is a streaming functionality. We know today's learners are streamers. They don't want to manage file sizes and different things like that. And we know that the Blackboard Ally usage is amazing. So just imagine what the other usage is outside of Ally. The ability to press, click, and listen, or the opportunity to adjust your learning preference and put it in an open dyslexic font, not only to read files, but also to read your discussions, your announcements. And what we saw in COVID was the essential need to provide testing accommodations and have quizzes read and be compatible with other products in the education ecosystem, mainly proctoring tools. And ReadSpeaker, because of our UDL functionality, easily address those needs and level the playing field for all users.
Paul, that's a lot of great information. And again, in our virtual booth, we've got links to our website where you can find how-to videos, documents. There's a plethora of information for our users out there. And I would encourage you to utilize that information. And again, you can reach out to us. Our contact information will be in that booth. And again, we hope you enjoy your conference. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.